Hi, everyone, and welcome to our behind the scenes look at what goes into an episode of the Collector Car Stories podcast, here with CollectorCarCanada.ca. Frequent viewers of the podcast will recall that we filmed an episode with Adam at his Neunwerks.com shop towards the end of season 1. And today, with the beginning of season 2 of our podcast, we're taking a behind the scenes look. So in season 1, we managed to record and drop 21 episodes. The one we're borrowing footage from today was episode number 20. And this is in addition to the Car Reviews podcast, which is a weekly consolidation of all of our car reviews, which we started doing around May 2024, did them all. So on to the behind the scenes. We usually do these episodes without a cameraman. You can see that there's a tripod visible in the screen here, but although we had a cameraman for this episode, his job was to shoot this footage we're showing you today. So for the behind the scenes footage, it's separate and a little different from what we did with the actual episode number 20 itself. And as I've said, we're in a Porsche shop for this episode. I think it's important to mention that we really do think it's neat that Adam is following his dream in opening Neunwerks.com. And perhaps that's the reason I see so eye to eye with him. But yeah, don't think that elitist. We focused in on a lot of different types of cars in the first season. Just scanning through our catalog: BMW, Volkswagen Beetle, Mustang, off-road dragster for a track, 67 Fairlane, Ford GT, 68 T-Bird. And then we were at our friend Sonny's place. He had a whole host of cars, some exclusive, some much less exclusive. 928, this isn't the first time we've had a 928. And there was the Audi that went up to the Arctic Circle. And our friend Sean, who's got Fox bodies galore. Not just Mustang Fox bodies, but Capri and Lincoln LSC as well. So as I say, I think it's important to mention that this is not an exclusive podcast or website that we run. You can see here that we'll often have props. In this case, they're in the form of the oil and the filter that we use for the oil change that Adam did on my car. And with our little pop-up set, I brought some foldable chairs as well as a foldable table. And I popped on some Collector Car Canada ball caps on it. Luckily, we had some Porsches to look at as we were filming the episode. You can see the cameraman just zoomed in on a 1987 Porsche 928 S4. So both of the cars, here it is again, and those are GT3 wheels from a 996 GT3. So both of the cars on the left side of the picture are 87 928 S4s. The one with the GT3 wheels is not a stock unit, and it's somewhat a high miler. I know it's 200,000 kilometers plus, but don't be fooled. It runs like a top. In fact, it's getting close to being delivered by Neunwerks for after its work has been done there. And I might add that the car in the background right now, which is known as a Lagoon Green metallic in color, is Adam's car. And that one's a really low miler, under 30,000 kilometers. And it didn't need restoration, but Adam has restored it. You can see right now I'm fooling around with the box for the oil filter for the car whose oil change Adam performed in the episode. Happens to belong to me. Funny thing was, it was in a Baldwin filters box, and a Mann oil filter came out. At the time, I speculated that they might be the same company, but I'll have to credit our first CCS podcast guest, Lorenzo Palacciata of Napa Auto Pro in Oakville, for looking up for us that they are two distinct companies. So someone at the parts shop or somewhere along the supply chain pulled off the old switcheroo and slid the Mann filter into the Baldwin filter box. I think I might have saved $1 because I think the Baldwin filter was about $1 cheaper than the Mann filter. So as you see here, we're sort of packing up. The camera stopped rolling for the actual episode, but we're packing up our little impromptu set so that we can make space for my car to come in and the oil change about to happen. So, yeah, not too much to see here, but I guess the veil of secrecy has worn off. We just have a little cheapy folding table that we bring along for the sake of having for the podcast. And as you can see, we just use those foldable pocket chairs. Everything fits into my hatchback, though. So, and you can also see the tripod with the phone camera still going there. So it's just sitting idle until we begin the oil change. So as you can see, it's a pretty hands-on process at this stage of our corporate growth in terms of putting together a podcast. All hands on deck, and we actually had 2 more hands than normal for this one, being that we brought along a cameraman. So we continue to get ready to bring the car in. You can see that Adam's shop, the great thing about it is he can easily fit 4 cars in there. And then upstairs, of course, he's got the storage area. But some of the rest of it, admittedly, Adam would admit that it looks like a starter set in terms of putting together a shop. You can see the quick jack on the ground there, on the floor. You can see you can just see it at the bottom of the screen. And we're about to bring the overhead door up. Oh, here it comes now. So it was a pretty cold day when we shot this back in late November, early December. No snow on the ground, but it was pretty cold. And with that, I would say that it was a bit cool inside the shop as well. Adam's found a couple of temporary solutions, being that the weather's gotten a lot colder since. And the line I gave Adam as we improvised, as he improvises in his facility, he's going to look back at this video in a few years and laugh at the shop he was working at. You can see the landlord's got his both snowblower and lawnmower underneath the steps there, just because his landlord didn't have a chance to find a new place for him when he rented them out. So Adam, as a show of goodwill, let them stay where you see them sitting there. So here I am about to climb into my own 1989 Porsche 928 S4 5-speed. The car had been running for a while. It hadn't been sitting for too long since I drove over to the shop, and so that was good, certainly, for the oil being nice and warm for it to flow out once the drain plug got released. Now I'll just let you hear from us as we speak in planning out what we need to do for the oil change. I'll just make the odd comment here and there. The cameraman obviously got a kick out of the license plate on the back of this black Porsche. So yeah, Adam's just getting to know his shop here a little bit. I remember when we shot this, how he's lining me up with the quick jack, and he told me I was right on par, shut the car off. And then he told me I needed to move back a little bit, so I had to start the car back up, as you see there.
There we go.
And down goes the door, which was a relief for us, being that we're in the cool shop. I wanted to show off my corporate shirt, I guess, so I kept on in short sleeves, but don't be fooled. I was shivering through a lot of this shoot. And this is the vantage point of a camera set up on a tripod we had up in the storage area. You might have noticed that upper loft area. So here's another vantage point of the car coming in. You can see I just popped, and there's the cameraman walking around behind the car right now. And you saw I just popped the hood. There he is getting that beautiful shot of the license plate of the car. You might notice that we don't make a huge effort to distort the license plates in our listings, and the reason for that is that I figure we drive around in our cars with license plates visible every day, so I'm not really sure why we would need to do that, except in special situations. So,
There we go.
oh, I suppose at this point he's still lining me up relative to where the door is.
No, wait. Okay.
And here I had to climb up to go grab that tripod that just shot the footage we just had of the car coming in. It's funny as we're sharing our little tripod with you, and that we're using, often we're using iPhones for cameras. I have a feeling a lot of podcasters wouldn't share this kind of information with their audience, but trust us when we say that they're using the exact same equipment. I will add that in December we updated to the latest and greatest, most recent iPhone with the best camera money can buy nowadays. So future podcasts, if they seem sharper and clearer, that is the reason why. But I think we did a nice job with the 1-year-old iPhone through the first season. So you can see the oil coming out here. It looks like we're getting close to the end of the flow. And as I said earlier, the car had been running, so
I think we want to.
It only made sense that the oil came out nice and smoothly for the camera here. So yeah, at this point the podcast camera is not rolling, so I'll jump in and out, but I'll let you hear the sounds that were being made in the shop itself at the time this was shot. So at this stage, Adam's just getting ready for putting a new filter onto the car and applying the new oil, pouring in the new oil. You can see here he's about to pour some oil into the new filter. It's always a good idea to have oil in the filter before the filter goes on. I had a little bit of a nervous moment just earlier when you saw the screen of my phone. I wasn't quite sure what the cameraman is shooting. I didn't want to have a Babcock there, but I think I got away with it. So you can see there that Adam just popped in a little bit of oil into the new filter to get it ready to go on the car.
So when I get bored, I'm going to try and figure out if Baldwin is the same company, or if that's just a
And it looks like you
filter
might
went
even
into the box.
lubricate the drain plug.
But as I
Oh,
said
he's got
earlier,
one
I'm
more oil
familiar
to
with
put in.
man filters. I'm quite at ease having a man filter in my car.
So again,
And
Adam's
I-
shop
I've
is
used it in my
Neunwerks, NEUNWERKS.com, Neunwerks.com.
This bench.
It specializes in
They're on sale this week.
Yeah, I just bought two more.
pre-2003
They're
Porsche.
good benches, you know.
But
for $2.99,
Adam's
like,
pretty knowledgeable guy, as
Porsche
you would have
car,
heard if you watched the episode featuring him, episode 20, if I recall correctly. He talked about I can't even remember how many, but 5+ RX-7s he used to own before he bought his first 928. So I consider him pretty knowledgeable on Japanese sports cars as well. I happen to know of a 1990 Nissan 300 ZX that's going into his shop relatively soon. He's happy to be getting the work, of course, and I think the customer's pretty happy to have found Adam at the early stages of his shop before the labor rates go through the roof. He's pretty fair with the rates. I might add that he did this for 0 labor charge for me as part of the podcast. So that was a great thing for me. Even more valuable for me was to get a knowledgeable guy looking at the bottom of the underneath of my car. You can see there's a wire hanging off down on the far right just in front of the skid plate, which is the vented panel in the background. But that's a wire for one of the horns. The 928 has 2 horns, and at the time this video was shot, one of the horns was non-functional. Leave it. So there are 2 different tones. So at the time that when pressing on the horn button, one of the tone was quite high because it's the lower pitched, more bass sounding horn that was non-functional at the time. So we're getting pretty close to wrapping up. At this stage, Adam's just grabbing his tank for the used oil. He uses that suction to he's just going to place it back in the original container. So we want to thank you for watching. We're going to have more episodes. It's been a great first season. Have a look at the rest of our episodes. Thank you for watching. And please do remember to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us out. Thank you again.